did you realize that no good deed goes unpunished? My husband Vincent and I lost our 3-month-old son Luca to SIDS last February. I still remember how cold his little body felt when I lifted him from the crib. The paramedics couldn't save him and I couldn't stop screaming. At the hospital, my husband called my sister Georgia, knowing she would be the best person to comfort me. When she arrived, Georgia didn't tell me this was God's plan or that Luca was in a better place like everyone else. She just held me and cried with me because she knew. After 5 miscarriages and losing custody of her daughter, she understood this specific hell. So when she offered to stay with us for a while, we immediately said yes. Vincent and I were actually grateful for the company because our house felt so quiet without Luca's little sounds filling up the rooms. Georgia would sit in the nursery for hours, organizing his clothes into memory boxes and creating this beautiful book filled with every photo we'd taken. She had this gentle way of handling his things that made me feel like she was honoring him rather than just packing. I was touched. She wanted something to remember him by. When she started sleeping on the nursery floor with just a pillow and blanket, she said being close to where Luca slept made her feel less alone. I understood completely because I'd been doing the same thing before she arrived. A month later, I noticed something on Georgia's wrist. It was the bracelet they'd put on Luca's tiny wrist in the hospital, and seeing it on her adult arm felt wrong. When I asked about it, she said she'd found it in my jewelry box and wanted to keep it safe. She walked away before I could say anything, leaving me to process what just happened. Another night, I found her in the nursery with Luca's baptism gown stretched over her arms like sleeves. She was swaying, running the fabric across her face. When I flipped on the light, she smiled. I just wanted to feel close to him. I can still smell him. Can't you? Because I didn't stop her right there. She went ahead and got his name tattooed on her wrist with my angel underneath. When I finally told her it made me uncomfortable, she turned vicious. You're being selfish. You got to hold him, feed him, watch him breathe for 3 whole months. I buried 5 babies before they took a single breath. Stop hoarding him like he only belonged to you. Her words stung, but the real shock came later that week when we were at the grocery store. Someone noticed her tattoo and asked about Luca, and without any sort of hesitation, Georgia said, "Oh yes, my son was only 3 months when he passed." But then she froze and chuckled nervously before correcting herself. I mean my nephew. That slip at the grocery store haunted me, but I kept making excuses for her grief. Then came the night that still makes me physically sick to remember. I woke at 3 in the morning to find Vincent shaking me. "Georgia's gone," he said. "So are Luca's clothes." My heart dropped when I saw the nursery. Every piece of Luca's clothing was missing from the memory boxes, even his burial outfit from the closet. Then Vincent found the note on the kitchen counter. "Gone to bring my baby home. Don't try to stop us." "Oh God," I whispered. "The cemetery." We drove there in our pajamas, my hands shaking so badly Vincent had to help me with my seatbelt. The cemetery gates were chained, but I could see her car parked by the entrance. We climbed over and ran toward Luca's section, the wet grass soaking through our slippers. The sight that met us made me collapse to my knees. Georgia had dug down about 3 feet into Luca's grave. She was wearing layers of his clothes, the yellow sleeper, the baptism gown, multiple onesies stretched and torn to fit over each other. Dirt covered her face and arms as she clawed at the earth with a shovel. "Georgia, stop!" I screamed. She looked up at me with wild eyes. "He's calling me! Can't you hear him? Mommy's here, baby! Mommy's coming!" She went back to digging frantically. "He's been crying for me every night. He tells me he's cold and scared and wants his real mommy." Vincent tried to grab the shovel, but she swung it at him. "Get away! You can't keep my baby in the ground anymore." She was sobbing and laughing at the same time. "He's mine! I'm his mother! You just carried him, but I'm his mother!" "Georgia, please!" I begged. "This isn't right. Luca is gone." "No!" She threw herself back into the hole, digging with her bare hands now. "He visits me. He chose me. 5 babies chose death rather than me, but Luca wants me. He wants his real mommy." She'd reached the concrete vault and was clawing at it, her fingernails breaking and bleeding. "I'm coming, baby. Mommy's going to hold you and feed you and keep you warm. We'll go away together. Just us." Vincent was on the phone with 911 while I tried to pull her out of the grave. She fought me viciously, screaming that I was jealous, that I'd failed Luca, that she was his savior. When the police arrived, she was trying to pry open the vault with a shovel, promising Luca that mommy would never leave him again. It took 3 officers to get her out of that hole, still wearing my baby's clothes like some horrific second skin. They arrested Georgia that night and she was committed to a psychiatric facility. Even knowing she was gone didn't help me sleep because when we cleaned out her room days later, we found walls covered in photos of Luca with my face scratched out of every single one. The worst part was the cemetery footage they sent us. It showed Georgia visiting Luca's grave every night before her arrest, wearing his baptism gown like a wedding dress. I keep wondering if I failed them both.